Hello and welcome to the show. Before we begin, the usual apologies. The kids are home, it's a weekend, so I expect to hear some interruptions in the background. Now, today, what I'm going to do is to share an interesting conversation that I had with a prof. Well, actually, he's not a prof, but he's currently undertaking whatever program it is that wannabe professors or aspiring professors do, and he's currently at the Lagos State University in the Department of Mass Communication. Now, he reached out because he is working with someone who is into podcast production, and he's been trying to develop a curriculum for podcasting that is going to be taught in their institution and hopefully in Nigerian universities. And his own primary concern in developing the curriculum is that they're going to have facets of it that are devoted to monetization for podcast audio producers and other audio producers at large. And it turned out to be a really, really, really interesting conversation. Of course, he recorded parts of it that are going to be devoted towards his thesis or whatever it is that he plans to use it for. But I'm just over here to share the parts of the conversation that I can remember anyway. And it's something that I was happy about because for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you're aware that both my parents are professional journalists. So my dad especially he had some courses in radio production from Nigerian Institute of Journalism, and then also some diploma course in radio production while he spent some time in London. And one part of the curriculum that was missing was this whole thing of monetization, the business aspect, basically. Because just like when I was in school, the same thing as when my father was in school, and my grandfather didn't go to school, so I'm second generation educated. But for the university education, higher education basically has been exposing people to a bunch of skills, but not quite telling people how you're going to sell those skills in the real world. And so because of that, I was really happy with having this conversation with the prof. By the way, he's not really a prof, as in he's getting ready to be a prof, but I'll just keep calling him prof for this episode. But if you run into him, don't address him as prof yet, so he doesn't get into trouble with his superiors. Let it not be as if he's claiming what he doesn't have. It's just me calling him prof. So, it's a conversation that a whole bunch of us need to be having. So whether you study architecture, whether you study audio production, whether you study law, whether you study dentistry, whether you study, what was that one? My father-in-law, he calls them doctors of mosquitoes. What are they called again? These are animal doctors. This thing that Goodluck Jonathan, our former president, studied. What is it called? Okay, I can't remember anyway. But people who are doctors for animals. So no matter what it is that you study, it'll be nice if we can start introducing aspects into the university curriculum so that people get a fair idea of when I finish this course and I enter into the workforce, how am I going to look for employers, or how am I going to look for clients, or how am I going to build a business? Just that next step forward so that people don't have to come into the job force like some of us do. And you come in and you're like, okay, I'm done with the school. Now what? So it was an interesting conversation with Prof. I'm not going to use his name because I didn't get his permission to do so. But before we go in, let me share what I'm listening to on Spotify. That's for those of you who want to broaden your musical palette. And recently I've been listening to some old stuff. At least some of you guys would consider it old. Listening to Redman and Method Man. Now, Method Man, for those of you who... I'll explain it. Okay, well, Redman, Method Man, they're both African-American rappers. They've been in the game for a while, for quite a while. Particularly Method Man, who came to fame with the group Wu-Tang Clan. He was with Wu-Tang. That is some real grimy experimental hip-hop. So it's not hip-hop that's for everyone. And this is not definitely hip-hop for the club or things that you can dance to. So if you haven't been exposed to hardcore hip-hop, as in pure lyrics, pure flows, those sorts of things, then it might take a while for you to get used to. But anyway, Method Man was the first member of the Wu-Tang Clan to blow, to get popular acclaim, and that's because his flows were more his flows, his chops are more easier to handle. And then by the time you blend it with some production techniques like from what's his name, Timbaland, and those kind of producers, you create some nice sounds that you can jump off to. So Redman and Method Man, I think they were signed to Def Jam at some point, and so that's some real good stuff I was listening to on Spotify. So Redman, Method Man, you like hip hop, try it out. It's a different flair, just for you to see. Excuse me. Just for you guys to know, you young bloods, those of you who like mumble rap and stuff like that, just for you guys to appreciate the history of hip hop, the evolution of the art. That everything hasn't always been mumble rap and this lazy Atlanta Southern kind of drawl. Just know that there's been other stuff that's been out there. Then while I was checking them out, I decided to see who was on Def Jam these days, and I found out something really interesting, that our boy Adekunle Gold is also on Def Jam. I mean, that's good. Shows that Naija music is going places. So you guys can listen to Adekunle Gold as well. His wife, Simi also does some real nice stuff. I don't know if Simi is on Def Jam anyway, but Adekunle Gold, Simi, just in case, Oyibo music and hip hop is not your thing. Those are some good jams right there. And it turns out that Frank Ocean is also on on Def Jam, and I am ashamed to say that even though lots of Nigerians listen to Frank Ocean, I've never listened to him, so I don't know if he's a Niger boy or not, but I definitely will check it out. So let me cure my ignorance. Frank Ocean is on Def Jam. Then also found out that Jadakiss is also on Def Jam. And Jadakiss, that is really old stuff, like back from those Rough Rider days, DMX and all those guys. So Jadakiss used to be with this group, the Locks. So it was 3 guys. It's Jadakiss, then there was Styles P, and then there was Sheek Louch. But I think Jadakiss was the most popular of them. So yeah, that's some good music right there. You want to broaden your talent, your musical palette, and you want to be a man or a woman of refined taste, just like I am, then this is stuff that you should check out. Redman, Method Man, Wu-Tang Clan. On the Nigeria level, Adekunle Gold. Check out his wife, Simi. Correct stuff. Frank Ocean, never listened to him, but I know that lots of Nigerians love him, so I'll try him out. I'll see if he's a Nigeria guy or not. And then older people, Rough Rider crew, the Locks, and all of that. So now back to the conversation that I had with the professor about podcasting. So like I said, the professor who's in the Department of Mass Communications at LASU, that's Lagos State University, and he's trying to see how you can develop a curriculum for audio producers, podcast producers, people in the audio end of the spectrum. When you talk about audio visual, so people on the audio end of the spectrum, and come up with a curriculum about how you can monetize these skills of yours, because clearly there's a gap that is missing in these sorts of things. So if as a lawyer and a doctor you think that there was a gap in the training that you received that did not prepare you for the real world, you best believe if you're an audio producer, best believe there's going to be a real shock when you enter the job market when you finish from LASU. Then let's see what else. So we did some chit chat, about how it's nice to put the entrepreneurial, sorry, forgive me, that's a real difficult word, the entrepreneurial aspect into the curriculum, so that we can foster the entrepreneurial element of these sorts of people. Because let's face it, it's not every single person that finishes with radio production that's going to end up working in with NTA or with a radio station. So he wanted my opinion on what the essential skills are that folks need to learn when you are in school, so that when you enter into the job market, you can, so you can thrive. And sorry guys, just give me a moment. Let me turn on the fan, because the rains have stopped in Abuja, and Abuja has just become as hot AF. I don't know why. Hot as hell. So let me just put on the fan. Yeah, okay. What was that? So Prof wanted to know what the essential skills are. And of course, we started off the same sorts of things that I tell you guys here every day. So you should not be surprised, especially those of you who've been listening to the show for months or maybe for years. So first off, I started off with technical ability. So I had to let Prof know that the things that you people are teaching these kids, even though you're not teaching them the entrepreneurial aspect, it actually is very, very important. Because if you do not come out with technical ability, if you do not come up with subject matter expertise, it is very, very hard to sell. And that is a core tenet when it comes to sales and business development. In fact, what's his name? Brian Tracy will say that, subject matter expertise is 101. Because if you went to school, you studied medicine, but you're a dunce, you don't know anything, and you're opening your hospital, it will affect the way that you sell yourself. You won't have confidence to sell your ability because you know that you're a dunce and that you might kill somebody if somebody comes to your hospital. But then there are some people, and those people, we call them fraudsters, who even though they don't know shishi, as in their head it is zero, they can talk confidently, they talk with full chest as if they know what they're saying. But then those kind of people, we call them fraudsters, we call them hucksters, we call them quacks, we call them all kinds of things. Because for normal people like you and me, if you don't have technical ability, if you don't have subject matter expertise, you can't sell nothing. You can't sell anything. Because deep down, you know that you're a fraud and that you best keep your mouth closed before you cause all kind of yawa. And believe me, it's a serious problem to say you're an audio engineer, you collect somebody's money, you charge him in millions, and then you now can't deliver on the product, on the recording, or on the documentary, on the whatever. And you know that we're in Nigeria, any small thing, people like to involve police. Before you know it now, you sleep in cell. Or if they don't find you, they'll go and catch your brother, and all those sorts of things. So I told Prof that, look, entrepreneurial part of the curriculum is zero, but technical ability, you guys best stay on your game because we need that to be able to sell. If you don't have subject matter expertise, if you don't have technical ability, you're not going to be able to sell at all. So I told Prof, yes, it still is important that we're doing our best to make sure that all these young boys and young girls in LASU, Unilag, OAU, ABU, LASPO Tech, wherever it is that you went to, we need to keep making sure that we're graduating all these people first class or 2-1. Well, anyway, you get the point, as best ability as possible. By the way, I'm not saying those of you who graduated third class that there's no hope for you. Let me not disgrace my family and say the degree that I graduated in. Let me just leave it like that. But yes, it would be nice if you do first class or 2-1, but it's not the end of the road if you graduate 2-2 or if you graduate third class or even if you graduate pass. But technical ability definitely has to be there, especially in something like this. Audio, visual production, technical ability is king. Because if you graduate first class, but camera you can't hold, mixer you can't mix, microphone you can't mic, then what did you go to school to do exactly? Then now we enter into the other skills, which are the much more entrepreneurial skills. And I told him that we need to have something in the curriculum around prospecting. That is one thing that is missing. And prospecting is this whole thing of you're trying to look for who might be interested in your product or service. Now, when we go to school and we study law, we study medicine, we study dentistry, we study audio production, or we study theater arts, there's no part of the curriculum where your professor tells you that, okay, boys and girls, when you enter the real world, when you graduate in 3 years, these are the kinds of people who might be interested in your skills. So theater arts people, your professor doesn't tell you that the people who might need your skills are TV stations or schools looking for teachers or independent movie producers looking for talent for a movie or something. We don't have that conversation. But if we have that conversation, then it would help and it would really develop the economy, because some of us would have hit the streets running, knowing that, okay, I'm done with my law degree. These are the kind of people, these are the kind of employers, these are the kind of customers, or these are the kind of stakeholders, other people I can partner with that I should start running after. And so we need to add prospecting to the curriculum so that when people leave school, they have a sense of who might be interested in my product or my service. And so that's something that people in the podcast production space, in the audio production space, in the video production space, in the whatever space that we need to know. So those of you who are animal doctors, forgive me, I can't remember what it is that you guys are called. My father-in-law calls you guys doctor of mosquitoes, but don't mind him. My father-in-law can be a randy fellow sometimes. So, where was I? So even those of you that are doctors of mosquitoes, you guys need to know that, okay, when I graduate school, how am I going to find people who need my animal hospital skills? So that needs to be in curriculum, so that as soon as you finish school, you know how to start chasing the customer or the employee or the partner, the joint venture partner, the whatever. Then I also told Prof that need analysis also needs to be a part of the curriculum, over here in sales and business development, we call that qualification and discovery. That is where you're asking questions about the person and about the project, because you need to figure out who the persons are, what the person's tastes are, and then the project, the vision that they're trying to solve. The vision that they're trying to move to. Since we're talking about audio production now, you need to understand what it is that they're trying to do, because audio production, it's not like carpentry. With carpentry, somebody can say, I want a table, I want it to be maybe this high or this wide. I'm thinking of maybe this kind of color. And, you can rough it out and figure out what it is that the person needs. But then when it comes to audio production or video production, somebody just come and tell you that I want to do audio documentary. That is high in the world of ideas. And you need to be able to figure out exactly what it is that the person needs. So we need a part of the curriculum where we need to teach all these young boys and girls who are leaving LASU and leaving OAU, leaving LASPOTEC, leaving RUST, Rivers State University of Science and Technology, all these schools. We need to be able to get them to figure out, how do you have a conversation with the person? Because if someone just comes and tells you, I want to do audio documentary, you say, okay, audio documentary, it will be 8 million. And then the person gives you 8 million. You start rejoicing, only for you to enter the field and start the work and see that 8 million you undercharge because of studio space, because of talent, because of talent that you have to rent. And sorry, did I say rent? What do you do? Yeah, do you rent talent? Anyway, you pay for voice actors, things like that. And then it turns out that actually you needed to charge like 24M for that thing to even make sense, But if you're able to do needs analysis and figure out the person's vision, it is then you'll be able to have a very solid proposal or presentation to say, okay, Oga, I understand you correctly. You want an audio documentary done. This is what you want us to achieve. These are the ideas you want us to explore. In order to do this thing correctly, we need to record in this kind of environment, that kind of environment. We need to get voice actors of this kind of grade, of that kind of grade. We're going to need sound design. We're going to need sound design talent. We need this, we need that. And so to pull this thing off, we're going to need 4 weeks of production and a budget of so. Then you can have that kind of conversation. You can make an effective proposal or presentation because you are good at need analysis. So it's not just a matter of somebody will come and say, give me audio documentary. And then in your mind, because you think 8M, 10M is big, every single time somebody says audio documentary, just say, oh yeah, okay, your money is 10M. That's not how it works. You need to have the need analysis conversation first. What are they trying to do? What are they trying to achieve? Do you have the skill set to achieve on that vision that this person is trying to produce with the audio documentary or with whatever it is that they're trying to do? You need to have that conversation. It is then you'll be able to give an effective proposal or presentation that they can say, yes, excuse me, now, oh yes, this boy understands my vision, or this girl understands my vision. This producer, this person definitely knows what's up. And then of course, spoke to Prof about being able to close, which is being able to take the next step, being able to get someone to take action on things that you guys have had conversations on. Sorry, excuse me. So that was pretty much the crux of the conversation that I had with Prof. So technical ability is there. Continue. It's absolutely important. Let's keep graduating all these people first class. But then we just need to make sure that these people, the boys and girls in school, that they learn how to prospect. Oh, sorry, forgive me. It's the call to prayer out in the window. These things now. Where was I? So prospecting, need analysis, how to make an effective proposal or presentation. Okay, negotiation. Yes, how to negotiate. Because this is Nigeria, you can't just tell a person your money is 10M and person will now bring out 10M cash and give you. They want to price. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's house, whether it's documentary, whether it's airplane, whether it's whatever it is, they must price. So you have to learn how to do negotiations and stuff like that. Then so that was the main part of the conversation. But then let's see what else. Okay, we got to speak about some other stuff, like how he would like me to address some of his students, and I'm looking forward to that because I haven't spoken at a university in a very long time. The last time I spoke in university was actually when I was in university, because I was the Lord Chancellor of my one of the small law student societies there. So I've been addressing other people since I left uni, but I haven't addressed the university crowd since then. So it'd be nice to go back to school, look at young folks, relatively younger folks, because I'm still a young man myself. So it'd be nice to address the young bloods, have a conversation with the young boys and girls out there, answer all their questions. But bottom line, I just want young people to know that it can be scary, but it's not something that you need to get anxiety over or to lose your sleep over, because every solution has a problem. So it'd be nice to talk to the students. Looking forward to that. And then he was also giving me just about how he's in talks with another professor in the UK about how they're jointly trying to come up with a curriculum for these sorts of things. And I think that is really, really good that Nigeria are moving in that level, and that the UK is also moving in that level. That as you're teaching these people how to become audio producers, you're also teaching them how to be able to profit from their skills when they graduate. Let it not be this whole suffering artist thing that you graduate first in your class, audio production or theater arts, and you're the best, but then you're a struggling artist. Then we also had the conversation around barriers to getting into the trade. I thought he was going to come at it from the angle of equipment and stuff like that is needed. But the angle that he was coming from basically was, he was saying that nowadays that everything has been democratized, that there's a lot of competition in the market. So he wanted to know what my own take was. And I gave him my own take, ho-ha, as per a child of the profession. Because like I told you, my parents were journalists. My mom would eventually end up as a marketing communications professional in the world of advertising, PR, branding, and all that. But Popsy was a comms guy all the way through. So journalism. Then from later on, he now worked with NOA. NOA is a National Orientation Agency. They took over from MAMSA. Basically, those are government public education schemes, programs. Because it's Nigeria, when you say schemes, it sounds somehow. So government education agencies. Then from there, where did he retire? Okay, I can't remember. I think he retired at NOAA, but I can't remember anyway. Such a long time ago. So as a child of the profession, it's something I saw firsthand. Now when I was a kid and my parents were journalists, back then, to be a journalist, you actually had to go to school. So Momsi studied theater arts, and then Momsi did an MBA. And then what did Momsi do again? Bosha, she went to school. It's the same thing with Popsy. Popsy went to school. He didn't do university, but Popsy had HND, Higher National Diploma. So he had Higher National Diploma. Then he went to Institute of Journalism. Then he did the course in radio production. Then he also went to London and also did more courses in TV and radio production. But what I'm trying to say is that back then, if somebody was a journalist, best believe the person was a journalist, properly called and properly trained, because you went to school, you learned the everything. This is how you handle the camera, this is how you mic, this is how you edit, this is how you do feed A, feed B, this is how you transmit, is it up transmission, down transmission, as in they went to school, they learned everything, they learned professional ethics, objectivity, everything. They went to school. But by the time, as times were changing, 80s into 90s, it became clear that in Nigeria, anybody could just call themselves a journalist. All you had to do was go and buy cassette recorder. Yeah, that's what we had back then, cassette recorder. You go and buy cassette recorder, you wear nice suit, or you wear, correct blazer or whatever, and then you have connection to people in power. You ask them a bunch of questions, and next thing you say you're a journalist, or next thing you're a PR specialist, or next thing you're this, or you're a communication specialist, you're that. So that was what Prof was alluding to, and yes, that has been happening in Nigeria for a very long time, and it actually has been a global phenomenon, that in some professions the barrier to entry is very low, so anybody can call themselves audio engineer. I mean, think about it now. If I want to be audio engineer, I don't have to go to LASU. All I have to do is sit down with YouTube and watch plenty videos. By the time I watch plenty videos and then I do some experimenting here and there, I can now say myself I'm audio engineer, even though I didn't go to school. So that's what Professor was talking about, with the spaces and some of these things are becoming democratized. So anybody is a journalist, anybody is audio producer, anybody is photographer, anybody is videographer, anybody is anything. Because the equipment is cheap, the information is readily available on YouTube, and after all, in this space, people think all you need is connections. So anybody can do the job. So I told him that, unfortunately, That has always been the case in Nigeria for a while, so from the 80s up until now. And I told him it's not a trend that will go away. It will always be the case. Because let's face it, I'm here with my phone recording this podcast and then I upload it, no editing. I'm sure audio producers who are listening to this now, I'm sure they're pulling their hair out. Like, what kind of rubbish is this? My guy just picks up a phone, records audio, puts it on the internet, and the guy is feeling like he's a broadcaster. Did he edit? No. Did he script it? No. Did he do this? No. Is there noise gating? No. Is there, so yeah, I'm sure that they're getting real angry listening to shows like this. But this trend is not going to stop. So I told him that the future is for us to learn how to distinguish ourselves in the sea of competition that is out there. You learn how to differentiate yourself, and that the only way you can differentiate yourself is from the sales process. That is what is going to help the true professional stand out from the amateur. So for somebody who goes to LASU and who learns the technical thing from A to Z and graduates first class, but then also learns the entrepreneurial aspect, this is how you prospect. This is how you interact with clients. This is how you do client consultation. This is how you do needs analysis. This is how you do treatment for the project to be sure everybody understands. This is how you create a proposal. This is how you do presentation. This is how you negotiate. This is how you close. Now, of course, you guys teach them the project management aspect as well, because after you collect somebody's money, you have to deliver on time and deliver on budget. So this is how you schedule a project. This is how you do timelines. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. This is how you handle continuity, everything. So it is only when somebody is exposed to not just the technical knowledge, but then the business aspect as well, that you can stand out as a true professional. Because the young boy or the young girl who just sits down and watches on YouTube is only going to learn that technical aspect. So the good professors in LASU or in Ibadan or in Benue State University, because we have a very famous mass communications department there at Benue State University. So you professors, you need to introduce these parts of the curriculum, because that's what's going to make your people stand out. Because the young boy or girl who goes and watches something on YouTube and say that, oh yeah, I'm audio producer, the person will be severely lacking in this aspect. But then if you can enshrine all this in part of your curriculum and your graduates are graduating with these sorts of things, the difference will be clear. When a LASU graduate opens his mouth and has a conversation with you, you see need analysis on point, proposal is on fleek, and then the way that they're handling the relationship and handling the project, the difference will be clear from somebody who just sat down in Popsy's house or Momsy's house and then watched documentary on watched a YouTube video on how to do audio production. He's now calling himself audio producer. So that is how we're going to make ourselves stand out, actually, not just from technical ability, but also what will I call it? Should I say business process ability? That is what will make the true professional stand out. So that was my advice to Prof. Just make sure the entrepreneurial aspect is part of the curriculum. I hope he's able to pull it through, because people in academia typically don't like change, and Nigeria is conservative again. So I can understand how, if he finishes his research and he's trying to talk to university senate to say, okay, this is how we need to change the curriculum, I'm sure that lots of people are not going to be happy about those sorts of changes. But if he can push it through, I think this is how people in the audio production space are going to be able to stand out, are going to be able to monetize their skills in the future. And it definitely is something that you should be paying attention to in whatever sphere it is that you studied. By the way, before I run off, I am not saying that those of us who sat down and watched YouTube and learned how to do one or two things, I'm not saying that we are deficient. Continue in your hustle, but give your craft the respect that it deserves. Make sure you learn your craft. Make sure you hone your craft. It's not just about making a buck, because there's some people that, they will do anything. If it looks like podcasting is making money today, they'll say they're a podcaster. Then if next tomorrow it looks like it's crypto that is making money, they'll say, okay, they're into crypto. Then the day after next tomorrow, if it's that it's real estate that is popping, they'll now say that they're a real estate agent. Then next year, if it's that they discover a Nigerian superstar in football and something, and it looks like a sport agent is what is making money, next thing they'll say they're a sports agent. So none of this rubbish and hopping. Sorry, one moment. I need to check something. Okay, sorry about that. I record on my phone, so something just came and interrupted the recording. I lost my train of thought. Okay, I guess what I was trying to say is that those of us who learn things from YouTube, because let's face it, my photography career, that's how I started basically. I was good at taking pictures. My flatmate said, "Oh boy, you're good at this sort of thing. You should do it as a business." And I said, "Oh yeah, thanks." And then he sent me a couple of videos, and then that's how I started learning my craft. So shout out to Ahibe, who was my flatmate at the time at the University of Aberdeen. So he's part of the people who set me off on this trajectory that I am on today, because he said, "Look, you got the skills, you should do this thing." And then after a while, he started sending me YouTube videos. He said, "Well, this is how you learn the craft. Well, go ye forth and make some money." So Ahibe Dangana, my guy, thank you very much for setting me off on my path. So that's it. 30 minutes. Let me bring this episode to a close. If you are a prof, or you happen to know a prof in any university who is also thinking about these sorts of things, and they want advice about how their curriculum can be expanded to introduce these sorts of things, entrepreneurial aspects into the curriculum, then by all means, give your prof, your uncle, or whoever it is, if your prof happens to be your uncle, give him my phone number. I would love to have a conversation with people in the academia, because this collaboration between people in the academia and those of us who are live and in the field, this is how we get our disciplines to develop. So this conversation between academia and those of us who are in the field, it must always continue, because the people that are going to enjoy at the end of the day will be the students, because professors will bring their own, those of us practitioners will bring our own. That cross-pollination, the children are the ones who are going to benefit from it. So thank you very much for your time and attention. My contact details are the phone number 080-6466-2140. The country code is +234 for those of you who are not Nigerian. Then you can also connect with me on LinkedIn. The name to look out for is Tavishima Ayede. I'm the host of the show. Just look at the link where you listen to this episode. You see my name there. Highlight it, copy and paste in LinkedIn. My handsome face will come out. Send me a connection request, and we can be having a conversation 24 hours, 48 hours later. So yeah, thanks for your time and attention. I'll catch you guys at the next episode.